What is going on in Tennessee? It's looked like they have landed a deal for Super Bowl 64. A lot of taxpayer money involved. What's going on with the special event in Nashville for 2030?
So Tennessee lawmakers went all in to build a new stadium in Nashville, and part of that was on the promise, hey, eventually we're going to get a Super Bowl here. The legislature and governor gave $500 million of state money to it, and then $760 million in a tax capture. They're bonding that money, and ultimately that's going to be a tax capture around the stadium. So they'll spend $3.1 billion over the lifetime of this new stadium to pay back those bonds, maintenance, upkeep, all those things on this stadium. And it was all on the promise that, hey, we're going to have big events here. We're going to bring a Super Bowl here. Well, yesterday they landed the Super Bowl. They're going to have the 2030 Super Bowl in Nashville. Today there was a press conference. All the lawmakers are excited, but there's a lot of taxpayer spending involved in this, including $10.8 million from a special events fund that Tennessee created for things just like this. And you might be asking yourself, what are they spending that $10.8 million on? Well, wouldn't we all like to know? But the problem is, in 2024, Tennessee lawmakers passed a bill that said, we're not going to release what we're spending this money on for 10 years after it happens. So check back in 2040, you can get the details. One of the things that happened was 10 years ago when Minneapolis held one, the NFL contract for the Super Bowl ultimately came out through a public records request. And it was pretty embarrassing for the NFL because they asked for all these things like the presidential suites for free in every hotel in town, 25 to 30,000 free parking spots in town. If you've been to Minneapolis, that's a lot of parking spots in a small area around this stadium. They asked for police escorts for all these NFL officials. They asked for months of free golf at all the golf courses in the area. It's kind of like when famous musicians come to town and they have this list of things that they need to have backstage before a concert. Well, the NFL does that, but it's like on steroids, like times 100, times 1,000. That's what the NFL asked for a Super Bowl. And ultimately they say, well, it's going to benefit you a ton. And they give these huge numbers on, oh, here's the economic benefit for your town. Nashville's going to win big on this. But economists have actually studied this pretty intricately. They look at all the details. They use economic principles. And what they say is a Super Bowl brings maybe $30 to $130 million in extra economic activity. If you remember those billions I said before, those billions are a lot more than that potential 130 million it's going to bring in. So the taxpayer expense on these is always way more than the taxpayer benefit.
So the taxpayers are essentially going to be funding NFL perks, all of these benefits. Additionally, it looks like the funding is going to go towards a new Nissan Stadium. How do you think Tennesseans are going to react to this, especially with the state showing that, yes, this investment is worth it? You kind of talked about it already, but, there doesn't seem like there's going to be a huge return on investment aside from, hey, we had the Super Bowl in our state.
So there's people that love the NFL that think, oh, this is a really great thing. This means we're a big time city. This means that, I get this great event coming. When they're saying that, they're not thinking of the thousands they'll actually have to pay to be able to go to the game themselves. A lot of times you're priced out. I mean, it's anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 just for one ticket to one seat at these events. And there's some backlash from regular taxpayers, people that maybe don't care about the NFL. And that was actually addressed at the press conference today. Bill Haslam, who happens to own the NHL's Predators in Nashville as well, he said, well, that's why we bring in state tax money, sales tax money, and that helps pay for all the other things that everybody else wants. But again, that sales tax number is not going to be anything compared to the taxpayer cost of this. And that's why those presenting it try to present it as, oh, it's going to be way more. There's going to be this huge benefit. And they try to have that be the word that gets out instead of the reality that taxpayers are footing the bill for all these things for the NFL.
Yeah, $10.8 million in taxpayer funding will we'll stay tuned in 4 years to see how that fares for the state of Tennessee and for Tennesseans. Center Square's John Stife, thanks so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it. To follow the latest in what's going on with Wisconsin and in the state of Tennessee, you can go to thecentersquare.com for more content.